Welcome back to the Dividend Diplomats YouTube channel. You got your boys here, Lanny and Bert, the Dividend Diplomats. What are we talking about today? It's Saturday. We're going to have some fun today. I'm going to pull back the layers. I'm going to take a look. I've been buying one share of VIG, Vanguard's Dividend Appreciation Fund, every single week. We're going to do a check-in here on the project, on the progress here. We're going to see how much I've invested, when I started, take a look at the top 10 holdings, and overall, am I happy with the performance and will I keep buying?
Gilmore happy. Guys, smash that subscribe button. Give us a nice thumbs up. We're recording this on May 25th on a Saturday, so you'll see this about a week later, essentially, guys. And as Bert says, he's diving into an ETF. It is a project because you haven't been doing it for that long, but you're about 5 to 6 months in, and I can't wait to see what you think, what your thought process is. Obviously, we're going to see how it's performed. We're going to look at yield. We're going to look at growth, but kind of look at why this has been a great investment.
Yeah, and what always jumped out with VIG and why I picked VIG is the blend of slightly higher yield compared to your standard S&P 500 and standard funds. Its current yield is about 1.8%. But I also love the dividend growth that's come along with it, that high single-digit dividend growth, the low double-digit dividend growth in some years. That's really why I jumped in. And then further on top of it, Lanny, let's just cover the top 10 holdings here for VIG. And it's really going to jump out for why, because some of these I don't have exposure to these holdings in my individual portfolio. So it really helps me complement some of the higher yielding stocks in my portfolio. But with some of the lower yielding high growth stocks, it's got Microsoft, Apple, Broadcom, JP Morgan, ExxonMobil, United Health, Visa, Procter and Gamble, MasterCard, Johnson and Johnson. You know what, Lanny? Of this list, I only own three of them. It's just rare when you look at some of these funds we've been looking at. I only own Exxon. I only own Procter and Gamble and Johnson and Johnson. And those are on the lower half of this top 10 list.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's what it's all about. Then is you're owning this ETF, getting exposure to where you don't. Definitely check out the video from Thursday because the top two here we actually put them in the ring together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, I looked through this list and outside of my wife owning ExxonMobil, I own Visa and Procter and J&J. So we do have four of the 10 holdings here. Um, but you're getting exposure. And if you look at the list, probably outside of PG and J&J, um, you're looking at kind of, well, they're all dominant
Yeah.
players. But at least Microsoft, Apple, when you throw in UNH and Visa and MasterCard, you've got some growth players in there for sure.
Yeah, so it's the nice complement that gets you that 1.8 to 1.9% yield, depending on the source you use, plus the 8 to 9 to 10% dividend growth rate, maybe some years more, depending on how some of the tech stocks perform. It just fits very nicely in my portfolio.
Yeah.
So we started buying them on December 4th. That's when we made our decision to buy one share every week. The price we bought it at was 164.75. And Lanny, we were joking about this before we filmed. What has happened to VIG share price ever since?
Yeah, I mean, back then it was what you said it was 164.
Yeah.
Well, you fast forward to today, and I'm pretty sure I got on my phone a notification since I buy VIG every single day myself. It crossed 180, north of 181. So, if you bought it at 164, it's at 181. You're, $17 appreciation point right there.
Yep.
That's easily a 10% bang.
Yeah. So what's been nice is we've been riding along the wave there. We've been buying every single week, dollar cost averaging up. We've amassed 25 shares of VIG, and then we've gotten about 0.08 shares of DRIP. So we own 25.084 shares. Our cost basis is $4,385.71. That is a cost basis of $175.43 per share.
Yeah. I mean, right now you have an unrealized gain, almost a couple $100. You've got you know, some yield that's coming off of it. You're reinvesting. you finally are getting, some news on the dividend front by owning it. So your yield on cost is going up because they're usually increasing that dividend every single quarter, or at least on a trailing 12 months. I think last year's the TTM growth, 23 versus 22, was about 10% growth on the dividend. So you're definitely getting a powerhouse in VIG. And, I can't wait till you have like a full year, essentially getting into December of this year, Bert, to really start to see like, okay, yeah, wow, that dividend is growing. These companies are obviously growing. And at this rate, VIG, there's a reason why you buy them. There's a reason why I buy them every day.
Yeah, I freaking love them. So we're up 3.88% on there. From your point, the small gain. The interesting thing here is I haven't really bought them on a down cycle yet, Lanny, and that was the other funny thing. So like the whole point of dollar cost averaging is you're buying when it's good, you're buying when it's bad, but overall your portfolio is moving up in the long run. So my gain doesn't look as strong right now, with only being that 3.88%, because I'm buying it every single week when every single week the price is increasing. I haven't had a chance to really lower that cost basis on the position. It just keeps like trickling up slowly. So hopefully I'll get the benefit of that, and hopefully all of us will, because then that means we can buy some other holdings too.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, the one thing that I wanted to take a peek at with VIG, when I started loading it up on Vanguard's website. By the way, if you're a Vanguard investor, what is your favorite Vanguard ETF? Let us know in the comments, guys. But, one thing I've been paying attention to is really the turnover of the portfolio. And, stay tuned to tomorrow's episode as well, because we'll really get into some of these details. But the turnover of the portfolio is about 13%. Um, you know, in relation to like, let's call it the S&P 500 ETF VOO, to really look at what that turnover is. So again, VIG is at 13%, so a little bit more than the 2% from Vanguard's VOO. So they turn a little bit, but they definitely turn less than like your SCHD. So you're going to
Yeah.
get a little bit more consistency, within the portfolio essentially.
Yeah, that's a great point there. What am I doing here? We're going to keep going with this, Lanny. There's no reason to stop. I love the automated investing. I'd love to at least get to, I just a long way away, but at least 100 shares of VIG, and then we can reevaluate and we can look further. That's at least 75 more weeks of investing without the drip. So this looks like this is there's no reason to stop. Love the holdings, love how it's been performing, love the dividends that have come along with it, and I can't wait till it grows and gets even.
Yeah, can't argue against that. Can't stop, won't stop. Bert is on a blazing trail. And again, for the investors out there, VIG is definitely the best blend of growth, paying a better dividend with better dividend growth than some other ETFs out there. So if you're just starting out in investing, don't sleep on VIG if your horizon, if you want it to be shorter to get to financial freedom, maybe a little bit longer than the high yielding ETFs like SCHD, VYM, DGRO, and some others. But this, if you want to look at it from an income standpoint, this might be better than your Vanguard's VOO or your SPY or, those ETFs.
Yeah. So everyone, let us know what you think of VIG. If you were me, would you keep buying? Or is there a different fund, an alternative version to VIG in one of the other fund families you want us to take a look at and see if it'll take VIG off my weekly purchase strategy?
Guys, remember to subscribe, like the gosh damn video. And Bert, you got one last message for our investors out there.
You're either with us or you're against us, Jack.
That was Bert and Lanny from the Dividend Diplomats. Over and out.